All right. Happy belated Valentine's Day, everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm a little under the weather. I'm going to try to talk you through this. I may be interrupted by a couple coughs, but I'll try to get you through this. We just watched a video on epigenetics. The video is kind of using an analogy of a symphony to how your DNA is read. The sheet music is the DNA, and then the way that it's played by the people in the orchestra is how your DNA is read. So the point that I have not shared with you up until this point is that genes can be turned on and off, and what makes a cell unique is which genes are on and off. But then within those actual cells, those genes can be turned on and off depending on the environment the organism is in. And that's the idea or the premise of this thing called epigenetics. So epigenetics is epi means, so this was today's mental manipulator. Epi means above. Genetics means genes. So it's something above the genes. It's beyond just reading the genes to make the proteins. As it pointed out in the video, epigenetics are changes in gene expression, not in a change in the DNA itself. So if it was a change in the DNA itself, it would be a mutation. But epigenetics is a change in how the genes are expressed. All right. This was first came into light for scientists when they were doing research with identical twins, and they came to realize that even though identical twins have the exact same DNA, they are susceptible to different diseases, and they were curious as to what is causing that. And then they looked farther into that and came to realize there's this area of genetics that we needed to look into called epigenetics, about how is it that a person's life choices or life choices of those around them could influence the way their genes are expressed. And in the video, I talked about methylation of DNA. And the idea of that, real quick, is methylation is a protein that would jump onto or bind onto the DNA. And in essence, it locks it up and shuts it down. So that gene or that protein could not be made, that part of the DNA. And in this image, you see the white dots. There's a non-methylated DNA strand. So it's stretched out and it's readable. And in the bottom, it's methylated, so it's packed in tight, not readable. Similarly, with the packing in tight or stretching out is the histone spacing. In the video, they talked about the histones, and we've talked about this before in class, that histones are what the DNA wraps around when it's winding up to be chromatin, and then it wraps up to be chromosome. It wraps up even tighter. But the histones, if they are close together, and the red, it says gene expression, but it's red, that means it can't be read or not. That's kind of ironic, red and red. It means it's not going to be expressed. And then down in the bottom there, it's green, and gene expression says, yes, it will be read, and it is going to express or make that protein. Excuse me. There's a big discussion now with this idea of epigenetics about nature versus nurture. Nature, as scientists had believed, is that DNA is code for everything. So whatever the DNA says is what's going to happen. But we've come to realize that nurture, or the environment you grow up in, is also very important. And the two play integral parts and are kind of meshed together. And that's why in the graphic below you see the bottle as in the uprising or taking care of a child. And then the DNA is wrapped around that, as in those two are interwoven. Both are important in an organism. So here's what you're going to do today. You're going to look over the following slides, and I've shared this with you in Google Classroom. You can click on all the links and see what you're interested in. If you don't like any of the articles and you want to do your own Google search on epigenetics, great. See if you can find an article. Your goal is to read that article, and the reading for the purpose is how does the environment affect an epigenome? An epigenome is the level above the genes. So you're going to write down one paragraph. You're going to write down the claim, answering the purpose of a reading, and then some data or evidence from the article. So a little bit of citing your things that support your claim, and then reasoning goes how does your data support the claim? So it ties it all together in a nice conclusion. Um, excuse me. So we have various articles, and you can click through them on your own. But take your time and choose one that you'll like. They have varying lengths, so kind of look around and find the article you like. And tomorrow we'll share out, and I'll check that as your homework. If for some reason the internet's not working in the classroom, the Dusty desktops should be working. So if you had to, you could pair up with a partner, and you could pair up or triple up if that's what the numbers allow. And you can find your articles online that way, and they should work fine with the hardwired Dusty desktops. All right. I hope that helps. Hope you have a great day, and don't forget to make smart choices. And I'll try to see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.